Coach, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
Congrats on the win. If you have an opening statement, and then we could jump into some questions.
Yeah, I don't have a lot. I mean, workmanlike effort, good win. Didn't come out of the chute playing extremely well, but started stringing together some stops there at the end of the first half. We expanded our lead, and then did the same thing in the second half. So overall, I'm pleased. Obviously, it's a great day for McKinley Wright, breaking Jay Humphrey's 37-year-old career assist record. It's a long time to hold a record, and McKinley has, I think, gotten a chance to realize over the last week or two as he's approached this milestone, how good Jay was. And, he's on our NBA wall upstairs in our office, and Jay's a terrific person, was a terrific player here, and so I can attest that the guy that broke his record is deserving and is equally of a great human being. So I'm really happy for McKinley and his teammates, and it's a special milestone for him and for our program.
And we'll start with Neil Wilk.
Hey, Tad, a great day for McKinley. Jabari Walker had a day. You mentioned it earlier. In that 13-0 run you had down the stretch of the first half, you forced 6 straight turnovers, 7 empty possessions. How important was your defense to doing this today?
The key, Neil, because we talked with our team. You notice after free throws we tried to press. Now you know why we're not a great pressing team, but we're going to continue to work on that. But we felt like Cal was going to come in and try to shorten the game and have longer possessions on offense. So we really wanted to press and pressure them when we could to create offense with our defense, and we were able to do that during that stretch that you're talking about. And Jabari was a big part of that. McKinley, the whole group that was on the floor. So that was a big part of the game, I thought.
And Jake Shapiro.
Hey, Tad, when you picked up McKinley late in that recruiting cycle, kind of a fortunate pickup for you guys. Did you ever think that he was going to be the kind of kid that made you reprint almost every single record book here?
Jake, I didn't even know. I'd never seen a kid play. I mean, think about that. We signed McKinley Wright. I saw him on tape, after we started recruiting him. But we weren't recruiting point guards in the early period, when he signed at Dayton. And, late we watched some film on him. But I'd never seen the kid play. So I didn't know what we were getting. I knew, his reputation and what the people in Minnesota said about him and his coaches and, that sort of thing. But in terms of knowing what we were getting, I had no idea. And you talk about a pleasant surprise. I'm not sure you can have a better one. And so I think it's been such a win-win. It's been a win for Colorado basketball, but I also think it's been a win for McKinley Wright. I mean, he's going to, we talk about every player that's come through this program that has stayed for 4 years and exhausted their eligibility. Every single player has graduated from this university. And so for McKinley Wright to come from where he came from in Minneapolis and to graduate from, an institution like the University of Colorado is another accomplishment that is, to me, probably more important than the assist record. And so he's got some work to do this semester and a little bit this summer to get that done, but we're going to stay on him. And before it's all said and done, McKinley Wright is going to go down as one of the all-time greatest players ever to play at this university.
And Justin.
Hey, Tad, along similar lines there, if I'm not mistaken, the only other Pac-12 program to offer Jabari out of high school was the one that you just beat today. So, I mean, when you think back retrospectively to the recruiting trail and what you saw in him, number one, just how did so many people just scan over this guy, miss out on him? And two, just with what he did today, I mean, what does that tell you about what this guy's going to be able to do for you in a calendar year and in 2 years, so on and so forth?
Yeah. That's a great point. And I didn't even remember that or realize that until we were talking as a staff, kind of in the hallway before we meet with the team. And, you're just looking for things to talk about that aren't related to the game. And we talked about the fact that Cal had recruited Jabari and that we, so I'd forgotten that. But, yeah, again, he was, Jabari is the epitome of a late bloomer. And obviously we signed him late in the late period along with Jariah. Again, sometimes you got to get lucky in recruiting. And we saw Jabari. I saw him work out in a workout in the fall, so I knew who he was. I knew he could play a little bit. We weren't sure, obviously, as the season progressed, was Tyler going to come back for senior year or not? And when Tyler left, we thought, I mean, here's a good young player who can grow into we think a really good player, in terms of his upside. And we also didn't know how quickly is he going to, acclimate to the college game. And that's why we signed Uriah as a grad transfer, as a stopgap. And, those two guys have been such a shot in the arm. You combine them together and, what Uriah gives you, Jabari's starting to shoot the ball from three. I mean, he's shooting it confidently. I mean, but those two kids have been special. But Jabari Walker just keeps getting better, kind of like before your eyes. It's so neat to see. And again, his teammates really love him, and he's got great confidence on the floor.
And Pat Rooney.
Hey, Tad, I want to ask you about Tristan da Silva.
Yeah.
He didn't fill up the box score like Jabari, but especially late in the first half, he seemed to give you some really good minutes, especially at the defensive end.
Pat, you're exactly right. And that's where, the difference between Jabari and Tristan sometimes is, you're right, Jabari fills up the stat sheet, and we love that about him. But Tristan da Silva is that guy that kind of is he's what we call a glue guy. He makes everybody else around him better. I thought his post defense was really good. He battled, against bigger, stronger post guys tonight. I thought his ball screen defense in the second half was terrific. Tristan is a really intelligent player and mentally understands the concepts that you're teaching. And so, as we look forward to the front court of Colorado basketball in the future, in next year, those two kids, Tristan da Silva, Jabari Walker, you're seeing the future before your eyes. Got Evan for one more year, thank goodness. But those three guys, the seniors are gone. The front court's in good hands. Plus, we got Lawson Lovering coming in. And, as Evan graduates and moves on, Lawson's going to be, the kid from Cheyenne, is going to be a terrific post player as well. And so I love the front court that we have in place. I love the youth, and I love the guys coming in. So that's why, I think the future of Colorado basketball is pretty bright. Now, we're going to miss number 25 a little bit. But hopefully we can, that's for another day. Let's just enjoy today and enjoy the rest of this season while we got these seniors in uniform.
Back to Jake.
Just bouncing on exactly what you're saying. Jabari scored the most points out of any freshman big you've had here in the last 11 years. You've had some really damn good bigs. And you're talking about that future of your bigs. You kind of see some development of, what the Colorado big man could be, because he seems to be a little bit different than some of the bigs you've had in the past.
He is. Josh Scott came in here as a really good low post scorer, and Josh was 6'9". Jabari's 6'8", but Josh had, the big broad shoulders. Jabari's a little bit more slender. His physical development needs to continue. Steve Englehart, our strength and conditioning coach, who does a great job, his job is plate is full with Jabari and Tristan as the rest of this season unfolds, and certainly into the spring and summer and fall of next year. Because I think, Jabari's as his physical development comes, Jabari's kind of different than Josh. Josh kind of came as a low post scorer and expanded his game, from there. Jabari came as kind of a face-up guy who can put the ball on the floor, very skilled, who we want to develop his low post game. And that's so, I've got a whole laundry list of things for Jabari and for Tristan, when the season's over with, to continue to get better at. And that's going to be a big off season for them. But let's not wait until the off season. We're going to start working on those things right now. But I think their physical development and their just, again, this year for these freshmen is so valuable, and they're able to not have the weight of the world on their shoulders. There's no pressure on Jabari. There's no pressure on Tristan right now. Evans carrying that load for them, McKinley, Deshaun, Jariah. And so those freshmen can just come in and play. And that's what they're doing, and they're doing a good job of it. And the key is learning, so that when those guys leave, you're ready to step in and say, okay, I'm battle tested, ready to go.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Coach.
Thanks, guys.